if I asked you what 3 words come into your head if I mentioned China, what would they be?
Far from my country. Far, different culture. And very peaceful.
Oppressive, beautiful, hidden.
Smart people, rich.
Like a rich history, rich cuisine, communism.
Morning and welcome back to another video. We're here in Milan on pretty much our last day in Italy, and we decided we want to go for a coffee before we start our day. So while he looked up on his app, we found a Starbucks, and we weren't aware that it turns out it's actually the biggest Starbucks in Europe, and it is absolutely mind-blowing inside. Never seen anything like it.
After we've had our morning coffee, we're going to be heading out around Milan and seeing some sights and asking some tourists what their views on China are and trying to get their candid reaction. So stay tuned for that, it's going to be a good one.
Man, look at that massive tiramisu there, and the pieces are well big. They've just got some amazing little cakes and that. Look at that. Got freaking big ass lemon meringue, cheesecake, strawberry tart, strawberry flan, apple or pear flan, tiramisu. It's just good, isn't it? So these tarts is what I'm having. It's got $6.50 now. I'm not sure whether that's for one or like all of them. Because like $6.50 for a cake is a bit on the high side. So for 2 coffees and 2 cakes, that was $31.50. That's got to be the most I've probably ever paid for 2 coffees and 2 cakes. 2 nitro lattes.
So I don't reckon either of us expected to be spending 25 euros on a couple of coffees and a couple of cakes. However, it's the biggest one in Europe, so it's got to be done once in a lifetime, innit?
It's probably the most that I've ever spent on 2 coffees and 2 cakes, to be honest.
Is that like you mentioned before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he was 31 then, and now he's 25, so there you go.
But yeah, we've had a good time. Now we're about to head to our first sightseeing destination on the trusty limes, the lime scooters. Let's go. Lime away, mate, lime away. You don't seem to be going anywhere. Oh, we're in the slow zone. No. We're not a fan of slow zones, are we? No. Oh, anyway, we'll get there slower than we thought, but we're going to be on our way. Here is the Milan Cathedral. We actually did a video yesterday when we arrived to Milan, driving from Bologna through Parma onto Milan, and we sort of went into a bit more detail about the cathedral and some other destinations. So head back on our channel and watch that video first to give you a bit of context, and yeah, time to sort of ask some people what their opinion is on China.
Got these 2 guys here, they're from Vietnam.
Yeah.
And so if I could ask you what's your say 3 words that would describe China, what words would you use?
3 words. When I think about China, I think about power, because right now they are dominating about economy, about infrastructure. So to me, the first words could be power, and secondly maybe
about the population.
Yeah,
of
like
them. Is it like the largest?
Like domination. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
And I also think about the food, like amazing food.
Amazing food. Okay, that's very interesting. And do you have a overall negative view, positive view, or a neutral view of China?
Oh, negative view. I could. I think about negative view about China could be a bit about freedom of speech, maybe. Yeah.
And would that be the same for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We are sharing the communist government. So we understand.
But you feel Vietnam is a freer country than China?
We think so. We do have Google. We do have YouTube.
Okay.
So we can understand the world much easier. Like we can quickly get the news, and we can reach much further about the news.
Okay. Yeah. And have you ever visited anywhere in China at all?
Yes, I have been in Shanghai. I have been in Suzhou.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you like it there?
Yes, I love it. I love Shanghai.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so vibrant city, so beautiful.
And do you think, you mentioned that you feel China are dominant, do you feel that is a world dominance, or just that you think they're dominant as opposed with respect to Vietnam?
I think they are a little bit too much towards other countries, like especially on the East Sea, where we are having a little bit conflicts between China and Vietnam Sea. So I think that they are trying to how can I say, like, overreach to other countries. So,
Okay.
yeah,
All
a little
right.
bit negativity.
That's okay, that's fine. Well, thank you very, very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Yeah, it was.
And enjoy
Thank you,
your
guys.
time in
Thank you,
Rome.
guys. In Milan.
In Milan, yeah, we're not in Rome anymore.
No.
Where are you from?
I'm from the United States,
From the US. Whereabouts?
Nebraska.
Okay, cool. And can I have you been to China before? Had any friends who have been there before?
I never have, but my sister was conceived in China.
Oh wow, wow, that's interesting. And if I were to ask you, do you have a negative, a neutral, or a kind of positive view about China?
I personally have, I would say, a positive view on China. My parents lived in Taiwan for like 3
wow.
years, so they used to speak a little Chinese, and I come from a family that's very open to travel and
wow.
new cultures, so for me, yeah.
Great.
Positive.
And what sort of 2 or 3 words come to mind when you think about the country of China?
The country of China. Like a rich history, rich cuisine, communism, and I don't know.
It's interesting because we make videos about China, and we've seen quite a lot of negative comments, particularly from people in the US about China. And why would you think that is? Do you think they have experienced China themselves, or are they getting their news from elsewhere? Or
I would say that the majority of people from the US have not experienced China, or maybe if they have, it's probably through news that they digest from other. I mean, I don't think the US and China are specifically like view each other in positive lights.
Sure.
So I think most people have like a very stereotypical view of like China and communism, just because the US and China are like considered kind of rivals. So it's not like they're fomenting a lot of relationships between the two cultures.
So would you say that would your idea of the news be quite truthful, or do you think they might twist some of the stories that to sort of be in their own for their own benefit?
The US?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure they twist it.
Yeah, okay.
Of course.
All right. Well, that's all. Thank you very much for your time, and it was very nice to meet you.
First of all, can I ask where you're from?
I come from France.
France, okay.
Yes.
And if I asked you what 3 words come into your head if I mentioned China, what would they be?
A tricky question. Yes. Far from my country. Far, different culture. And very peaceful.
Okay.
People.
And do you have a negative or a positive view of China?
Well, balance.
Neutral.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, balance. No, not negative, not positive.
Okay. And have you ever been to China?
No, I
No.
never.
Okay.
Yes.
So where do you get your information about China from generally?
Generally, I get information about the news on the newspaper, on the TV, and from some presentation at my school.
Okay. And do you think that news media is accurate, or would you think it's not accurate?
Accurate. What do you mean with
Do you
it?
think that what the media tells you in France is true about China, or do you think they twist the stories?
I don't know because as China is communist, maybe the news are late and a feature, and I don't know. Unbalanced. I don't have a precise idea of the China, negative or positive.
Because you've not been.
Yes, I've never been. I'm like this. If I make my own decision and my own opinion, and maybe one day I have the opportunity to go at China and discover.
Discover, yeah, for yourself, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time. So, first of all, can I ask you where you're from?
Yeah, I'm from Yorkshire.
Oh, in England?
Yeah,
Oh,
England.
a fellow Brit.
Definitely speak English though.
Yeah, definitely.
And Have you ever been to China?
I haven't, no.
Okay. If I asked you to sum up China in 3 words, what would you say?
Ooh, 3 words, okay. I don't know if I can put it in 3 words.
Just any 3 words that you think about China.
Oppressive.
Okay.
I do think some parts of it are beautiful.
Uh-huh.
Hidden.
Okay. So are generally your views of China negative, positive or neutral?
Negative.
Negative. Can I ask why that is?
Yeah, so a lot of my master's research, my international law master's, was on the Uyghur genocide in China.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so I think that's where a lot of my understanding of China comes from.
Okay.
And they're kind of, I said hidden because of their human rights.
Okay.
I think a lot of what they do is, we don't have an understanding of it necessarily in a Western world. So, yeah, I think there's a lot that goes on that is not declared to the UN and to us in the Western world. And
Okay.
yeah, so I think not that it's not the people. It's a beautiful place, but I think legislation there is oppressive and difficult.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one more question then. Where did you go for your research when you were doing that research?
So I didn't ever travel to China. Everything I did was secondary research. So it was largely focused on looking at first-hand written pieces by Uyghur people. And I've worked quite closely with a human rights charity called Free Uyghur Now that is run by Uyghurs who've either escaped persecution there in Xinjiang or who have family who were there at the time. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Thank you so much for
You're
your time.
welcome. Thank you.
I'm from South Africa.
You're from South Africa. That's very interesting because we've just come from there. We spent 6 days in Cape Town.
Oh, nice. That's where I'm from.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, nice. Wow.
So, as I said, we've lived in China for 3 years and we know there's a fairly bad press about China outside of China. What are your thoughts? If I asked you for 3 words what you think of China, what would you say?
Smart people, rich.
And?
That's 3 words.
Okay, smart, yeah. And do you have a negative view or a positive view of China?
Negative, most likely.
Okay, why do you have a negative view?
Well, obviously the government is not that great there
Okay.
towards its people, and I don't know. They seem to be causing trouble abroad.
Okay, that's interesting. And have you ever travelled to China?
No, I have not.
Okay, so where would you have got those views from?
Media.
Okay, thanks very much. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks.
And you're from?
France.
France, okay. If I said to you China, what 3 words come into your head?
China.
Yeah.
The wall, the wall of China. The gastronomy and the Chinese people.
Okay. And do you generally have a positive or a negative view about China?
Both.
Neutral.
Yes.
Okay.
Neutral.
And where do you get most of your information about China from?
Most on TV.
Okay. And do you think the media are negative or positive?
Negative by the industry and other, but positive for the people.
Okay. And one last question. Have
Yes.
you ever visited China?
No.
And would you like to?
Oh yes. Yes.
Okay. That's really good. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Hello, what's your name?
My name is Nicoletta,
Nicoletta, I'm Ollie, nice to meet you. Where are you from?
from Milan.
From Milan, okay, so we've got a local here. So when I talk about China, what sort of 2 or 3 words come to mind when you think about China?
Okay, Cantonese rice, or the food mainly. The food. I don't know how to say the spring.
The spring rolls.
Rolls, exactly.
And
something.
where would you get most of your information about the country of China?
I don't gather a lot of information about that. I like the Chinese food and it's easy to find, I think, everywhere in Italy, but also when you go abroad. And so
And have you been there yourself, or do you have any friends that have been there?
In China? No.
Okay.
I haven't been. I have some friends that went there for trips.
And when somebody mentions China, would you have a positive, neutral, or negative view?
Maybe, I don't know, quite a neutral one. Maybe depending on the topic, I don't know. Sometimes you associate China with things that are not very well manufactured or very standardized things like this.
All right, thank you very much for that.
You're
That's all.
welcome.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You just told me you've lived in Italy for 10 years.
Yeah.
So, if I said to you China, what 3 words come into your head?
Beijing, and Shanghai, and Hong Kong.
Okay.
3 cities.
And do you have a negative or a positive overall view of China at this point in time?
It's like I don't actually hold any negative views, but I mean sort of like positive views. I mean the country is is developing so fast. They have a unique unified government. So basically they got the power to change every part of China. So. So for the last decades, you can see, there's a great change of the country.
And do you feel the media outside of China portray a negative image of China or a positive image of China?
I mean, I don't know, because basically I used to live in London for several years, but I heard several negative voices from the society. They were talking about how the dictatorship or of the country, or because we're talking about like democracy, right? But basically in China, few like
it's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
There's something in the middle. It's like because the huge population. If you try to implement the election, voting for elections, you're going to collect it's like 1.3 billion.
Yeah, it's a big task.
Yeah, it's a big task.
Yeah.
So that's why they have another system which is might be more efficient. In my view. Negative side, I don't know. It's like actually I'm not so like interested in
that's
political like issues.
That's fine,
so
no problem.
For my view, because I live in Italy for many years, so basically for me, everywhere for me, and I can really feel comfortable. So I just live there. So I'm not caring about how the political system changes or
Sure.
So if majority of the people feel happy, I think that's it.
I think so too. I think a majority of the Chinese people are happy with their government.
Yeah. Especially people from big city. I don't know, because I didn't travel a lot in China, but really trust me, like in Beijing, Shanghai, or Shenzhen, like many big cities, and they feel happy. Even they work harder, work harder and harder to get what they want.
Sure.
Houses, families, good education, because resources are limited.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, there you have it. A first on the Barrett channel, some street interviews. Hopefully you did enjoy that. We tried to sort of leave them with open questions to get their honest thoughts and feelings about China.
Yeah, and it was very interesting that we got overall a fairly balanced view. There was some which were very nuanced, there were some a bit positive, some a bit negative. So overall I think it worked, and I'd like to think we can bring some more of these from other countries we travel to.
Yeah, let us know down in the comments if you did enjoy that, and maybe you can give us some ideas of maybe some more closed topics that we can dive into for street interviews, because that was quite good.
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that.
It's our last night here in Milan and our last night actually in Italy. We'd love to come back at some point in the future because we really enjoyed it.
We did, yeah.
Some great places, some great food. and would definitely recommend you come if you do get the opportunity. Anyway, hopefully you did enjoy this video. As we said before, let us know if you want more of this type, and we will see you in the next one. For now,
take care.